and City Furniture for sponsoring the event. Next month, I'm excited to announce our Tech Talent Fest. One of our other core pillars is tech talent. So we're having a Tech Talent Fest for those of you still in school, about to graduate, or in career transition. Come to our Tech Talent Fest. Breaking news, we've announced our keynote speaker. It's going to be the author of this book, LinkedIn Profile Optimization for Dummies, Denis Sinelnikov. Great speaker. So you can come, and I'm going to get my book signed there, live and in person. So come to that event. It's free for job seekers as well. And the biggest event we do each year, Tech Palooza, going to be Wednesday, December 11th at the Broward Convention Center. We'll talk more about that, but Marcio is going to be there, and we're going to be highlighting our international pavilion. So I think that's enough for me for now. So thank you again for joining. I'm going to let Denis introduce himself and then introduce our two guests, and we'll go from there. So thanks.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Everybody, welcome back to Tech Tuesdays, powered by SouthHub and Owwll. Today, we have very interesting guests with us in the room. I'm going to start with Marcio. Thanks for being here. And we have Brad also, all the way from California. Thanks for showing yourself and making a guest appearance.
Absolutely.
Marcio, I know you've been involved with South Florida Tech Hub for many years. Can you give us a little bit of background information about yourself? I know you do quite a bit of international business. Tell us how long you've been with South Florida Tech Hub and how long you've been in your business.
Oh, great question. And thanks for the opportunity once again to join this massive and incredible event. This podcast is fantastic, and I have been watching some of the episodes and very inspireful. Related to myself, I'm living in the US for 10 years right now. I'm Brazilian. I developed all my career in Brazil and South America, handling with the technology like Jeffrey. I was 30 years plus being executives of American companies in South America, like Oracle to Cisco Systems, Ingram Micro. And since then, doing and developing channels all over the region, I discovered kind of gaps between the platforms in terms of developing business all over. And that's the point. Since I started here in the US, I ignite our company, which is Massimo Advisors. And since I arrived here, I had the chance to connect with South Florida Tech Hub. In that moment, I met three angels. I always tell and call them angels because those three angels put me in the right spot on the right time with the right people networking. And that's the way I started doing my business here. And I start leveraging not only my business, but the entire community and being part of South Florida Tech Hub. Those three angels were Nick Caboose, the current CEO of Tech Hub, Kelly Merbler, a faculty of John Maxwell organization, and Avali Andrade, who is a very inspireful LinkedIn, and she's also an entrepreneur in terms of networking and HR. And since then, I engaged myself with Tech Hub informally, and now finally I'm a corporate member of Tech Hub, doing international business and bringing international companies to the ecosystem.
Wow, thanks so much for that background. So I know you bring and you kind of migrate a lot of businesses from South America, Latin America, since you're from Brazil. Do you see a big trend of businesses migrating north? We kind of call Miami's like Silicon Valley 2.0. There's a big boom in technology and a lot of new technology businesses opening up in South Florida area. What seems to be the trend? Why are people moving up here from South America? And what seems to be pushing them to make that move and reincorporate in America?
Yes, great question. I have been inquired a lot about that. And the main point I should say is we have a few reasons. The main point it's the spin-off of the financial structure of US last year when we had the main and the most powerful funds in terms of venture capitals or international investments coming from Manhattan, New York, to establish their headquarters here in Miami. And also it burst the market for sure, and leverage also by the governor incentives and policies in terms of developing international business and transforming Florida an international hub for businesses and also for entertainment and hospitality. So we have a tremendous logistic platform in Florida. We have a tremendous hospitality infrastructure in Florida. And also we have a lot of international people arriving, putting their personal and corporate investments in Florida. So it turns into a very important hub for the entire region, entire Americas, not only from also US, but also Central America, South America, because it's a kind of hub and we can concentrate culturally saying and professionally saying this environment in a very good perspective, I should say.
Awesome. So if somebody's watching this live stream, from South or Central America, they want to get in touch with you to help them migrate their business or maybe open up like a satellite office in Miami and Boca and, anywhere in South Florida, what would be the process for you to kind of qualify them? Is it specific industry that you work with, or how does it work?
Yeah, this is another great question because in Florida, specifically in US, it's the biggest market worldwide. US accommodate anything, anything you are doing in your country, any kind of services or products you have, it's more than welcome to US for sure. Following the right policies, be under the regulations, being regular in terms of immigration. There are some points that are very important to be settled at the beginning because against that, if you are not fulfilling the right way to come to US, you're going to be in trouble. In just a few words, I always advise all my customers at the very first conversation to be strict to the legitimate way of coming to US. This is the very first point. Secondly is to adapt. It's very important to adapt to the corporate communication. It's very important to adapt to the portfolio of products and services because doing business in USA is completely different from doing business in South America, Central America, Canada, Europe. Culturally, say in terms of a business is quite different, but it's not a big deal. It's just a case of planning well, planning organized, and you're going to be good to start doing your business. I should say, you didn't ask, but I should say probably since we start planning until have the business landed and you start making the first revenue, could be something around 12 months. In the first year, we can bring a company, landing a company, connecting the company with the marketplace, and South Florida Tech Hub is the hugest tech hub that we have in Florida. We have more than thousands of companies inside, so it's the perfect spot to settle a kind of membership to start connecting locally.
Yeah, let me ask a follow-up question. Or make a comment. Because of Marcio's involvement, and I've lived in South for a long time, because of the strong international presence and the growth in international presence, for this year's Techpalooza, we're actually decided to create a new thing called the International Pavilion, where we're going to be focused on and highlighting, I guess, non-U.S. companies that are starting to do business or want to do business in South Florida. So maybe talk a little about some of your thoughts for the International Pavilion at Techpalooza this year.
No, this is fantastic, and I really thank you, Jeffrey, because as you are the director of partnerships and engagement of South Florida Tech Hub, you are always open to take a look and to understand the movements that are being made surrounding the spotlight of the business. And for sure, not only Nikki Caboose that are always open for sure for new trends, and the board of Tech Hub, they got this idea and put in place and putting in practical way. This year, I see that's going to be very important, not only for international business, but also for international business that are already in Florida, because they are kind of not realizing which should be the right direction to establish their business strategies and marketing. I really invite all the businesses that are in Florida and are intending to come to Florida this year, next year, join us in Techpalooza. It's going to be December 11th. Save the date. Look for all the social medias. You're going to see Techpalooza December 11th. and organize ourselves to be here. We're gonna have this international pavilion where we're gonna have not only assorted flavor of companies, products, and services, but the networking is gonna be tremendous, not only from the technical perspective, but the locals, executives in the region.
Yeah, one comment. So part of my job is talking to a lot of potential members, a lot of startups, and a lot of them had been, companies based in Latin America. And you just said something that I guess I never fully appreciated. It's that, let's say they got a great business model, they got a great product. Culturally, it's so different doing business in the U.S. than, let's say, Latin America. They would ask me questions, and I tried to help, but it was kind of beyond my level of expertise. So that was one of the reasons we, wanted to leverage this. Maybe just talk a little more about the cultural differences as well, separate from the technology.
No, fantastic. First one is very simple, the language. We have many entrepreneurs aiming US, but barely speaking the language. And for sure, I'm telling this because of myself. When I arrived here 10 years ago, I barely spoke the language. For sure, I start to dedicate it myself to join clubs like Toastmaster. I'm not promoting, but Toastmaster, it was very easy.
Great organization as well.
Yeah, it has no cost. You just join the club, join the meetings every week, start reading, starting watching TV, and start talking and connecting with people. That's the way I start leveraging my English. It's not perfect yet, but I can communicate that. By the way, I'm here communicating in English because I started doing this. It's something that needs to happen. For sure, we are here in the hub of Latin America. It's good to have at least Spanish as a second language. So I really encourage people to understand culture of doing business, starting by the language, the business model, the dress code. Latin Americans are very flexible with the time of appointments. And one thing that is very criterious here in the US, when you make an appointment, just be in the appointment at least 10 minutes prior instead of being on sharp. So this is something that comes from culture, and we are talking about business. You have the chance to be delighted doing business with a good level, or you could mess up at the beginning of the process. So this is some little details about the culture, but besides that, to be appropriate with the right communication with the company, with the promotion of the company, merchandising correctly, understand that if you have only products in your portfolio, you need to consider e-commerce platform, for example, because US is pretty much self-served in terms of going purchase their own assets or technology. So this is kind of some assorted points, but there is a huge list that we need to accommodate. And we do that during the advice process of the internationalization.
Right.
We go point by point.
Thank you for that.
I also have a follow-up question. Do you work with any other continents? Like you mentioned European a couple of times. Do you work with European companies?
Yes, and thanks for bringing that to the conversation. I need to highlight here some partners that I have. I have been developing this by this kind of networking for sure. South Florida Tech Hub was the main point that I established myself. Second one, which is the hugest association worldwide in terms of American businesses, which is World Trade Center. I'm a partner. I'm a global partner of World Trade Center, established in the Miami office. At this case, because my company established here in Florida, and also I'm part of Argentine American Chamber of Commerce, because doing business between Brazil and Argentina, we could leverage a good portion of the Latin American business. And for sure here in US, I also have other partners like Impactify Global, which is going to be hosting the International Pavilion.
Be there as well.
Yes, they're going to be with us over there. Also here in US, I have Select Florida, not as a partner, but as a good partnership I have with them. As I sometimes bring huge companies to US, I need to accommodate with the local states. But talking about Europe, I have partnership with MIA, Madrid Investment Attraction of Spain, is a subsidiary of the Ministry of Economy, and they are kind of a counterpart of Select Florida for Florida. MIA is the Select Florida in Spain. We have a partnership with them. I have also a partnership with a COMSE, is the same counterpart in terms of economical development, but for Mexico.
Mhm.
And also I have partnership with a DIFC, which is Dubai Investment Financial Center from Emirates. So I'm aiming as regions to lending business in US, Europe, for sure. Mexico is a huge economy in Latin America, and also Emirates in having Dubai as a capital.
Great. And I can probably make an intro. I'm part of the Russian-speaking Chamber of Commerce
Awesome. I would love it
because
we
there's
have
a lot of
Russians.
Ukrainian, Belarus, Russian,
Right.
all the former
Important.
Soviet Union republics, and a lot of people are moving in
Yeah.
to South Florida. So I
Amazing.
think that would be a great introduction because you already have
Really
the
appreciate it.
infrastructure, all the process set up. I think it would make sense to have a conversation.
Honored to be part. And
So
just one point, last point, I would like to highlight right now and make a kind of breaking news that this
Breaking
podcast-
news.
breaking news.
Breaking news.
And thank you all to be well organized with everything. I need to thank Jason. You don't see Jason, but Jason is the brilliant mind is behind the scenes. He is doing with his Stephanie here, and the structure is amazing. If you are intending to come and to develop your merchandise, I will definitely introduce you to Owwll. If you don't know what's Owwll, you can see here. I will just translate for the Brazilian. It's coruja. So Owwll is coruja in Portuguese, if you don't know. I want to highlight two things that I started exactly yesterday, what I'm doing right now. I'm representing here in US the FCG group from Brazil. It's the largest venture builder in Latin America. And I brought some numbers here. I would just to take the care to took the numbers to not mess up with the numbers. As you could see, we have 1,500 investors, 134 board members, more than 190 executives. We have more than 300 startups ongoing right now, and more than 3,000 that were attended by this infrastructure. We have more than 14,000 clients all over the region, more than 10,000 business to customers, and more than 1,600 employees. So FCG Group is the largest group in terms of venture capitals and venture builders in Latin America, and we are kicking off the operation in US. What does it mean? We are open the door in Brazil for all the business, international business, to establish their business, startups in Brazil. So we're going to be partnering with local hubs, local startup chambers and hubs. For sure, we're going to talk in a while with a South Florida Tech Hub to be a kind of counterpart and opening Brazil platform to establish startups and to establish the mature companies in Brazil. We have a lot of incentives from Brazil right now for this, and it's going to be something very valuable to consider in the portfolio of the companies. And also, we have a lot of board members of FCG watching us live right now. If anybody else from Brazil wants to chime in this podcast and make a call to us, call Jeffrey, and you're going to be able to make any comment or any question. And lastly, and ending my pitch, I was invited, and I'm delighted with that. I was invited to join the board of a Meshama Institute. In English, is Call Me Institute. It's an institute pretty much focused in terms of developing and protecting youth people. We have a lot of youth right now, youth people going through vulnerability in terms of security, in terms of protection, in terms of violence, and they are doing very nice in Brazil right now. They have 5 years operating, and they already changed 15,000 lives of youth in Brazil. It's something very tremendous. They are doing very well. And I was invited by them. I'm joining as a board member, and we are start organizing the things and preparing for scaling up this operation, initially for the entire Brazil. And secondly, for sure, we are aiming very high. We're gonna be starting internationalizing this operation for US, Europe, and other countries. And I invite everybody to follow up into my LinkedIn account and all the movements we are doing, because this is something very important for the society.
Yeah, that's.
Thank you.
I was going to ask if somebody's listening and they want to get more information about all the organization. What's the best way to get in touch with you? Is there a website, or
Mhm.
you mentioned LinkedIn? What's the best way to connect?
Yes, LinkedIn for sure. It's worldwide. It's easy. It's Marcio, Marcio, Pyrrho, Pyrrho, Almeida, Almeida, Marcio Pyrrho Almeida, and LinkedIn. And by the company, by my website, www.massima with SMASIMA advisors.com.
Awesome, great. So looks like we have a caller coming in. Jeffrey, you wanna? Renee, thanks for calling into the show.
Hi, Jeffrey. How are you?
We're great. And you?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you for having me on.
How can we help you today?
Well, you know what? I love Owwll and signing up to be an ambassador. I've known Jason for such a long time, and I just really want to learn more about you and what you're doing and how I can support you. That's what this is about. When you connect with people on a different level, and you have an audio platform like Owwll, that's the best of both worlds. It's real time, real connections, real people.
Were you asking me specifically?
Yes, I want
Wow.
to learn more about you.
Wow. I'm for once I'm a little speechless. Thank you.
Listen, I'm all about helping people find their voice.
Yeah.
So I'm your
Well,
girl.
you don't know me, but generally I'm not speechless. Generally probably talk too much. Um, well, thank you for that. I guess a couple of things. Certainly connect with me on LinkedIn if we're not connected.
I
Call
will
me
do that.
call me on Al. And Marcio, what have you decided? Are you going to have office hours on Al? How do you want people to reach out to you on
Oh,
Al?
that's awesome. I'm also at Owwll, and you can call me, you can ping message to me anytime.
Okay.
Probably if I'm able, I will attend
Okay.
promptly. If not, I will return
Okay.
anytime.
So I guess you could get involved with South Florida Tech Hub. Tell us a little more, I guess, what your day job is and how Tech Hub may be able to help you. Are you physically based in South Florida?
I am physically based in Southern California.
Okay. So you probably can't come to many of our events in person, but if you're in town, you're certainly welcome to come to Tech Palooza. We do have virtual events as well. Um, Tell us. I'm sorry. I think we've talked before, but I've forgotten exactly what your day job is. Why don't you tell us a little what you do, and maybe I can answer more of your questions.
Well, I am a couple of things I do. I'm a woman life and leadership coach. I come from over 25 years in the corporate space of leading teams to the number one positions. And it was really about getting to know the people on the team. So during that time in 2013, I lost my voice to a very painful illness, and doctors didn't know if I would ever speak again. So that to me, I'm all about helping people find their voice, not just the physical voice, but the metaphor of their life. I believe that I lost my own voice because of my own limiting beliefs about me. And I was very good outside, but for myself, I was taking care of everybody but the girl looking back at me in the mirror. So I think we often do that, especially when you have big roles in life that we're responsible for so many other people and teams. And I put everything outside of me. It all starts from within.
Wow. So thank you for that. One of the other areas specific to South Florida Tech Hub is encouraging underserved communities to get more active in STEM and technology, like women, for example. So
Wow.
we have a lot of women's empowerment events. Many of them are virtual. So if you don't follow us on Eventbrite, go to Eventbrite and follow South Florida Tech Hub, and you could certainly participate in a lot of our women's event. And I'm sure Nikki Caboose, our CEO, who is female as well, would be interested maybe having you on a women's panel in terms of women's empowerment. We spend a lot of time on that as well. So that might be an area you could get involved in.
It very much is. Wow. You never know. I got a little nudge that I should call in, and I did, and no idea what was going to come out. But I always say what comes up comes out. So I very much will do that. So it's Nikki. You said what's her last name?
So Nikki Nikki Caboose. It sounds different than it's spelled. Cabus. She's
Okay.
on LinkedIn. She's on Al. You can follow us on Eventbrite. It's no charge. Subscribe to our newsletter, no charge. Definitely follow us on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, I'm going to do that, Jeffrey. I'm going to connect with you on LinkedIn after our call, and those are phenomenal. I'm sitting here writing as you're speaking because I want to make sure I connect with both of you. And also, yes, I will go to Eventbrite and connect as well. That's fantastic. So I'm also part of a technology company that I've also spoken with Jason about. So it's something that I'm very much involved in the tech space, and really more of the about having people hear you in different languages, and that's with AI, the use of AI. That's all with technology, and that's in all different countries. So it's amazing that we have that capability, that we can serve people around the world. And literally, people say, "Well, you have to speak, your customer's language." Literally, you can speak your customer's language through the use of the technology that we're using, and that literally opens the box. And they say the world is your oyster. It really just becomes your oyster when you have the use of technology. And that's what I'm a part of, because that also helps people in, hearing their voice and meeting them where they're at in their language around the world. So that's huge.
Yeah, one other thing, I forgot to say this. So I'm a heavy user of the Owwll app. I prefer the office hours.
Yes.
So I'm always available 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Anybody on Owwll wants to reach out to me, I have open office hours then.
Okay. I'm writing that down too. I got a whole page of notes on you. All
Well,
right. Anything else I need to know about you, Jeffrey?
I guess I have to ask you, we didn't plan for you to call in. I didn't ask you to call in and ask these questions, right?
No, you didn't know.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. No.
Thank you.
No.
I'm
No, I got a nudge from somebody else that I should call. Not
Okay.
nobody that's on your panel there yet. No.
Th-
They said if you're available, call in. So I just literally called you without even knowing anything what was going to come up or come out. This was definitely not planned. I was getting ready for another call, and I called you. So there you go. So yeah, that's the beauty of things like this. When I always say, when you show up to life, life shows up for you.
Right.
And it absolutely does. You have to be open and receptive to that, and just be open to the conversation. And this is what's going on right now. So I'm thrilled that I took action and called, because I'm going to follow up and follow through with you on LinkedIn. I just wrote an article there yesterday, as a matter of fact. I write articles for LinkedIn and contribute to many of their platforms there. So definitely I'm going to be connecting with you for sure. And I'd love to keep our conversation going, because this is incredible, absolutely incredible. So I'm grateful for your time and your expert advice. And I will be checking you out more on Owwll too. And I'll be leaving you a beautiful review as well.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks
so
for
welcome.
calling. Have a great
Thank
day.
you for having me on your show. You as well. Take care. Bye-bye.
Great. Thanks for calling. So I wanted to also introduce our second guest today, all the way from California. We have Brad, who's the managing director of media entertainment of Agora. Let's get a little bit more like nerdy and talk about technology.
Definitely.
I think that's your specialty. Tell us a little bit about your company. I know it's a public traded company. You offer so many different
Sure.
technology options for many industries. And tell us a little bit of background about yourself and the company.
Sure. So let me start with Agora. So we are essentially a next generation communications platform as a service. And so what that really means is literally in part what we're doing today. So for the folks that are participating interactively on the Owwll app, my company, Agora, actually powers the audiovisual part of that user experience. As the managing director of media and entertainment, what I'm really looking to do is to take these lessons from, what originally started as a video conferencing use case, and start to understand what are the ways to make content consumption more interactive, to make apps more interactive, to make websites more interactive, and really to start to push us into what we always would have expected from the web. And what do I mean when I say that? One example that we've talked about a lot over the years is the idea of the true second screen. In other words, I'm watching a TV show or a movie, I pull out my cell phone, and there are specific things I can do directly related to that viewing experience that I now would be doing on my phone. But why haven't we really seen those experiences to date? Well, the simple fact is there hasn't been the tooling. There haven't been the full links in the chain to be able to capitalize on and exploit that type of user experience. What's interesting is, a little bit like the mRNA vaccine right before the pandemic, that's sort of where we are now technologically. In other words, the problem space itself has largely been worked out, but what we haven't really seen yet is being able to do this at scale. So when Jason invited me to come on to this show today, and in particular, a very special show because this is the launch of V2 of the Owwll application.
Breaking news.
Breaking
I
news,
forgot to
folks.
announce that.
So I took
version
stole
2
your
is now
thunder.
available.
Sorry, I stole the thunder. Didn't
Sorry.
mean to do that. But the reason that I was really excited to be here for this is because, being able to provide these types of experiences is something I'm trying to get my media and entertainment clients to really start to embrace. And so why? Today, media and entertainment is largely using destination sites like YouTube, Hulu, TikTok, with the idea that just by distributing out, I'm going to bring in an audience. And maybe they are to an extent, but what they're also really doing is bringing their entire audience to these other platforms and losing them to their competitors, to the advertising rev share, to the loss of their first party user data. So what you want to do is give your users an incentive to come into your application. So today I might be watching this on LinkedIn, but if I want to participate in the conversation, I have to come into the Owwll app. And there's any number of benefits to being able to do that, from being able to interact with us in the show today, or also now being able to follow up with maybe one of the guest call-in folks, maybe with me, maybe with one of the other panelists. So that to me is what the next generation looks like. And to just go back to that 10,000 foot view of like the second screen experience, the other thing that I think is a missing ingredient from the sort of Hollywood formula these days is user engagement. And so with the younger cohort, for example, Gen X, well, not so much Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they're not watching sports content right now. Well, that's not really true. They are. What they're not watching is the ball game. What they're not watching is the basketball game, right? But what they are doing is participating in esports. And so one thing I'm hearing being articulated back to us now from the industry is this desire to provide the esports experience around traditional content. And so that literally means like, I'm the team super fan everyone knows in my neighborhood, and everybody wants to hear what my predictions are. People would rather maybe, or a certain segment of the audience would rather hear what I have to say about commentating a game than the traditional broadcaster in the booth at the stadium. And so that's the way to start to attract that next audience. And so that's basically what Agora does. And then just very briefly introduce myself a little bit into the show. So my name's Brad Altfest. I've basically been in the video delivery space my entire professional career. If you've ever seen a standard definition Sony DVD, that was one of the early technology projects I worked on. And about 15 years ago, I moved more into product marketing and product sales, targeting media and entertainment customers. Anyway, great to be here, everybody.
Well, thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Where's your company physically based?
So we're based in Santa Clara, California,
Okay.
Although our user base is worldwide. And one of the things that's our key differentiator, some of our customers would include a Zoom, would include an Amazon. We have one of the largest footprints worldwide, especially around the interactivity, because we just have better latency. And there's a bunch of technical expertise that goes into that. And number two, because we also have a business entity in China, Shengwang, we are used to doing things at scale. And so one of the limitations typically with ultra low latency is once you start getting more than, a certain number of concurrent viewers, the experience can start to blow up. But because in our main regions, even a small event could mean a large number of eyeballs, it sort of forced us, and we've been around for over 10 years now, it forced us to be able to mitigate those limitations. And so, there's an array of functionality and interactivity that we bring surrounding just the basic nuts and bolts of the video delivery.
So you mentioned esports, and like Twitch is a platform that's usually used by gamers, right?
Sure.
If it's not a big Fortune 500 business, if it's a startup or a medium-sized business, can they still utilize your technology? Is that cost-effective way to get in right away and then scale later?
That is such a great question. So absolutely. One of the things the traditional video delivery providers would do is they would bring you into contract commitments, especially if you wanted any kind of discount pricing. And so that was a real challenge for startups, right? It's hard to estimate what your initial go live traffic is going to be. If you underestimate, you're not getting the maximum discount. If you overestimate, then you're basically paying for services that were never consumed, and then that creates problems later. So what we did from the beginning was offer more of a pay-as-you-go model. And then, of course, look, just for testing and, early days, we offer 10,000 free minutes per month. And you can sign up yourself on agora.io. That's our landing page. And what you'll see there is that there's a number of different
Brad, I'm going to
industries we work
interrupt.
in.
Sorry.
Sure.
We got a caller
Oh,
calling in.
absolutely.
We'll come back. Hold
Absolutely.
that thought.
Laura,
Hello.
Laura.
Good morning, Laura.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's so awesome to hear all of you guys. And I definitely looking forward to talking to you, Jeff. I'm a big fan of Owwll and Jason. Since actually we met due to the audio value of Agora on Clubhouse almost 4 years ago. I'm the co-founder of a community called the Pitch Club, which is about 80,000 people globally. And Jason pitched in our room, and I myself had an epic fail in the social networking space back in 15 to 17. And I was like, whoa, Jason, I got to talk to you. I hope I can help and support you and help you be, create value for all of those users. So I was an early beta tester of Owwll. I've been with Jason the whole time, seen all the enhancements of the app, and just have so much respect for Jason. He's a friend as well. So nice to meet you all.
thanks for calling in. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, so I actually have a question for Brad, if that's okay. Is
Oh,
that
I'd
cool
love
with
it.
you?
Sure.
So I can't believe that I actually had a chance to meet you, because I've been a beta tester on almost every social audio app. I actually spun up after about 3 months into social audio during the pandemic. I was like, whoa, this is the best thing since sliced bread. This is a way that we can democratize access to knowledge. And Owwll is kind of a part of that, right? It's a one-to-one, connect, grow, learn, the whole thing. And then social audio is what you were just talking about, which is multi-screen streaming, engagement. I enjoy watching the football game on a social audio app, because then I can chit chat with buddies all over the world. So, and the debates. And so tell me about the technology, because I know there's been some, it's new. And so
That's
talk
right.
to me a little bit about there's some connectivity issues. I'm on Spaces, I'm on Clubhouse, I'm on Chatter.
Sure.
Call out to Nelson and Pega. He's got the best feature set. I think actually the combination of Chatter and Owwll together has a lot of potential for monetizing. I spent hours and monetized to some extent. But yeah, talk to me about the tech aspects of connectivity globally, and where it's headed in the next year to 3 years. And also, how do we acquire customers, introduce people to this? That's the biggest challenge with Owwll, Chatter, any of them, Spaces.
Sure. Wow, those are all great questions. So let's sort of peel back the onion. Let me
Okay.
start with the monetization question first, because look, if you don't think you're going to make money, then why are you doing it? And it is a complicated technology space, and so you are dealing with needing to be able to integrate an SDK into a front end, for example. That removes the traditional way of doing video content delivery, audio content delivery, which is through a CDN. However, that's just sort of changing the core expertise you need. And then ironically, where I think my end customers can sometimes get a little bit tripped up, especially some of the smaller customers, but even some of my larger ones, is what does the user interface look like? In other words, okay, I understand what real-time audio and video delivery means, but what does that translate to in terms of the way that looks on the screen? So number one, you look at the Owwll app, and I think what you see is a really sophisticated user design, and sophisticated in part because one of the things I've seen on the world market, the US market, the Western market, is a little bit allergic to clutter, where in other parts of the world, having a really busy interface is not uncommon. It's not jarring. It's not unpleasant. So now imagine you're entering into this world of interactivity. How do you combine those two very disparate sort of like design aesthetics, right? One is minimal and the other is but really interactive. So I think that's actually a little bit slowed down the rise of the interactive experience here as opposed to other places like India, APAC, etc. Number two, and this is more just, historical, we're very about the home entertainment center, right? I mean, I have a home theater now, and it not only rivals, it surpasses the capacity of my local theater, right? I've got Dolby Atmos, I've got an 8K TV, right? I mean, my local theater probably doesn't even have those things. So in these other countries, however, they're very much more mobile first. So how do we monetize that? One thing I would say, we used to talk a lot in the media and entertainment industry about the target demographic, right? And that was 18 to 24-year-olds. And the reason was they had the time to dedicate to consume the content, and they had the disposable income to spend money on experiences surrounding it. Now that conversation's really changed, and suddenly it's like we only are focused on the older audience, and mostly we're sort of horse trading, right? We're moving folks from the cable linear broadcast to streaming, but it's the same model. It's like free ad supported, some premium stations you could buy as an add-on, some pay-per-view content. But we're not really utilizing the fundamental real-time nor interactive nature of the web. So the first layer to the monetization model is, what are you differentiating? What's my reason to come into your app, your platform, your website? Well, Owwll is giving us a very clear one, right? If you want to just watch passively, hang out on LinkedIn. If you want to interact, you have to come into the application for that experience. That's brilliant way to monetize in that context. So the other part of the monetization, to me, it's the theory of the 1,000 super fans. And I know we all talk about creators and influencers, and that really was the core sort of like theory that the editor of Wired magazine came up with. I forget his name. I apologize right now. But the idea was, instead of it being a large number of fairly low-paying audience members, you go for the 1,000 super fans, the most highly engaged, the whales, the super fan, the influencer, the creator. And that's who you really market your wares to, whatever they are. And they're so engaged, they will follow you anywhere. And so you have all these different ways to socialize them, monetize them throughout those experiences. So that's my answer to the monetization aspect. Do you still want to get into the tech? Because I'm ready to geek out if you are.
Yeah. So I agree 100% on the whole super fan, because I've seen it. I brought a lot of people over to Owwll, and then those referrals, and Jason has done a phenomenal job with respect to setting up the infrastructure for creators that have an audience to monetize, whether it's the 50,000 to $250,000, fan musician, struggling artists that could come in and literally they could go live on Instagram and do their thing. They've got 500 people there waiting, and they could say, hey, I'm going to be on Owwll in the next 10 minutes. Come and call me. They can make more money in 10 minutes to an hour on Owwll a week than they will on Instagram or YouTube. So thinking of those use cases, whether it's the musician, whether it's the call, even a coffee chat, you think about the amount of college students that are searching LinkedIn to find a coffee chat to talk to any of us for 5 or 10 minutes, the opportunity, imagine there's 1 million people or more on Owwll, and all of a sudden a coffee chat with professionals makes sense. There's so many use cases. So before we geek out, what would be your suggestion? Sorry, FedEx is pulling up. I'm outside. What would be your suggestion for customer acquisition and use cases for Owwll, for Jason? And then the last question is, how do we ever get access as creators to all this Agora? Agora is the tech, but all of my conversations, all of the people listening to me, the data, the analytics, because I can then monetize myself by showing these demographics to retail media.
Right. So that's a great question. So the first answer I would give is the application layer matters, right? Especially where you're either distributing on somebody else's platform. And so you're not only doing the rev share, you're really also giving away all your first party data. And so how do you start to build your business if you don't understand what initially got your audience there, what they're doing there, and what would make them stick around longer, bring their friends along, etc. So, that's sort of what you're up against. And then how do you do it? I mean, look, there's a lot of different options. We've done everything from wireframes for a customer that was struggling with the UI interface all the way on through to taking on a full dev effort for a customer if they don't really have the resources themselves. And then, of course, we can work at all the other intermediary steps, right? We can assign a sales engineer to your account. They can work with your dev team, whether they're an in-house or outside dev shop. And that's the way that we basically roll live with our customers.
Yeah, I think we only have 30 seconds for Laura.
Do you want me to jump into the tech real quick? Because
Yeah, go quickly.
here's what I'm going to say. It's going to be very high level. At our core, we are a communications platform, but we're a network. And we're what's called a software-defined network, or what we call a software-defined real-time network. And I would say that that's actually a part of the technology shift I was referring to. So, the old way of delivering was CDN, except technology is at the place today where I could put a completely open source CDN in a container, spin it up on an edge node, and I've now got Brad CDN. Now, that comes with a number of inherent limitations that the next generation technology that we run on does not have. But I would say that's really high level. It's a network play, and it's being able to manage network distribution in real time.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in, Laura.
Yeah, that was great.
Hopefully you
Those
got the last
questions.
part. So quick same question to you, Brad. Great answer. What's your preference if people want to follow up, learn more about Agora? How do you want them to reach out to you? Are you on office hours? What's your preference there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm a sales guy at heart, so it's always office hours. So please feel free to reach out to me at your leisure. I don't always promise I'm available, but I will certainly get back to you as soon as I'm able. So number one, obviously, you can reach out to me on the Owwll app. I'm also available on LinkedIn, but to be honest with you, we cover a variety of different use cases, and I really focus primarily on media and entertainment. So I think your best bet would be go to agora.io. It's like the media. I'm not the story. My company is. Agora.io. And there are a number of use case examples ranging from education to telehealth to future of work to social gaming, virtual reality, metaverse, etc., and media and entertainment. And that'll direct you to the appropriate parties within my org.
So just if you didn't hear it, it's agora.io.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate
Thank
that.
you. It's important.
Quick follow-up question for you, Brad. I know you're also involved with South Florida Tech Hub. How have you been using it for sales, or just joining the different communities, expanding on your product? What has been success so far?
Yeah, that's a great question. In all fairness, I've only been aware of you guys for about a day. I happen to be in South Florida right now for different reasons. But that's why I love this, right? Because the app is what enabled us to actually have this real life, in-person communal experience. And now we're able to take that interaction that we're having as traditional in business as anything, but now extend that into an online presence. So that's about as far as I've gotten with you guys so far, but I'm hearing a lot of interesting things and I can't wait to dive more in.
Yes.
So
see,
breaking news, Brad told me before the show he's definitely going to become a company member.
I cannot confirm or deny.
If my work boss Nikki Caboose is listening, she'll like that. But that is my day job.
That was the point of my question.
Thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
So happy to talk to you about that. Hopefully you will be able to join, but thank you for that. Yes.
I wanted to disrupt a little bit this table. I have a question also, Brad, for you, because from the Laura's question, your points of explanation, which was awesome. I have a question because, as you could see, I'm a baby boomer, and as I came from the technology market, for me, it's very disruptive. But entertainment is not a case to take a camera on the hand and start filming and streaming. I think it's much more than that. And as you very wisely explained, we have nowadays plenty of technologies in terms of infrastructure, connectivity, application platforms, whatever, softwares, hardwares. Because as we are working with hundreds and hundreds of startups, and mostly of the startups are beginning their business thinking about, we needed just an initial investment, having a camera, maybe have a good connectivity, and maybe a device to promote and start streaming. What should be the best way to start to defining what should be the best infrastructure, what should be the best initial kit to start doing business in terms of entertainment, and how to scale this up with this assorted capabilities of technologies we have in the market right now? Because it's not a case of a device, or it's not a case of a platform. It's much more than that, as I could understand from you. But this point of perspective, to give a kind of idea for the startup market, what they could start, but aiming to grow this kind of business?
Yeah, those are all really, really, really good questions. So, number one, I would say it's a question of knowing your market. And so I talk a lot about reaching that next generation audience. Obviously, for, we're talking about more like developed technologies businesses. It's not going to be Gen Alpha. It's not going to be Gen Z. And so then the question becomes, all right, well, what are the experiences that we need? So one of the things about Owwll that I love, for example, is the concept of the office hours, right? So it helps bookend your day. If you also are looking at things and dividing them into like, where are my marketing leads coming from? It's a good way to like, okay, this is the hours of day that I'm dedicating to this source versus the others.
Right.
From a cost mitigation perspective, so look, number one, if you're just kicking tires, testing a theory out, the 10,000 free minutes will get you there, right? Number two, we of course have a startup program. Obviously, you have to pitch us and convince us that there's something real there.
Awesome.
But we can do like a bucket of startup minutes, and then that also can come with support. In addition to the community.
What does that mean? That mean you're willing to invest and work with startups on
Well,
a
look, how do you
no-charge
think?
basis?
Well, not no charge, but
Okay.
well, no charge in terms of those minutes for sure. But obviously,
Okay.
there's a number of different things, and so if you're saying, "Hey, I want to do everything in
So
the kitchen sink,"
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's
No,
a
no.
really important point. So you're interested in startups reaching out to you to potentially have that conversation.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look,
Okay.
Clubhouse happened while, on our watch, if you will.
Okay.
And so, we'd love to find another Clubhouse. And,
Got it.
and to be clear, look, I mean, I think that's the point that we're at. When I started at Agora over 3 years ago, the co-founder of the company who was interviewing me, we talked a little bit. I already knew the space, and he said, "Well, what do you think about all this?" And I said, "I think I'm looking at the future of online video." And I knew that was the minute I got the job. So the point, but it was true. And so to me, there's a lot of blue ocean opportunity right now. If you're looking for a place to invest in, and that's everything from you have money and you're looking to put money into a startup all the way on through to you have an idea and you're wondering, when can I do it? I mean, I think now's the time. And so, one of the first things I think we're going to see is the next generation sports fan super engagement app. That's my crystal ball prediction in the next 12 to 18 months. Another place that I think we're going to really see innovation in general is in branding. And so one of the mitigating factors right now is brands are worried about brand safety. And I mean that from everybody that's offering you like Nabisco, a product that you eat all the way on through to a content distributor, content owner. But there are also real-time tools that are available these days to mitigate that. And it's everything from being able to audit the audio. So if I start cursing, it would just drop my mic. It could also do things like auditing to make sure that there's nobody that's, shirtless or more. And those are automated things, right? And then there's a number of other things you can build in. You can create like social scores. So the more time you spend on the platform, the more rules you follow, the more rules you don't break, et cetera, the higher your score goes. And then that can successively enable you to, okay, now you could do social audio. Oh, okay, now you can do a video watch party. And so that's stuff you could do.
That's great. I was going to follow up with that question, how you're utilizing AI, but we can get into it afterwards.
Mr. John Morgan.
Mr. Marcio.
Good morning, man.
What's up, buddy?
Awesome. Nice to see you here. And listen, for sure.
Yeah, man. I know it's been way, way, way too long, but hey, when you become an international business dealer like yourself,
International arms dealer?
Yeah.
You don't have time for the little folks anymore, I guess.
Oh my gosh, I need it. I barely could sleep because the jet lag is from Emirates until California. It's crazy.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Well, great to hear your voice at the very minimum.
Oh, I'm glad.
So John, what can we answer for you or discuss with you?
Well, Jeffrey in particular, I know you've done a lot of things to help folks looking for work.
Right.
And I know a few of those folks, especially in tech. And I just was curious to get your thoughts on the state of the job market, especially for lower level coders.
Right. Great question. So again, we didn't discuss for you to call in and ask me this question, correct?
No.
Great question. So one of the 4 pillars that Tech Hub focuses on is tech talent. So we do spend a lot of time and we have programs for that. I don't know if you heard me earlier. we've got an event coming up. Geez, I forgot the date
next
already.
week.
Next month, October
Month.
16th, Wednesday, October 16th,
Mhm.
Tech Talent Fest at FIU in Miami.
Okay.
It's a free event for job seekers. So everyone that you're referring to, they should attend. That would be one thing they should do, I think. So you're really kind of referring to, let's say, entry level, maybe people right out of school, or people in career
Yeah.
transition, or both.
Probably both,
Okay.
but in particular, the newer folks coming
Okay.
out of the Boca codes and places
Right.
like that, because it seems like maybe they're having a little bit more trouble than
Right.
others.
Right. Well, that's unfortunate. So having been in that situation 150 years ago when I was looking for a job, it is that's people year, not dog years, by the way. It is normal. It can be tough. Actually, since you brought this up, as my give back, I've developed a methodology and a presentation on how to leverage LinkedIn to find a job. And there is actually a lunch and learn that Tech Hub did that I spoke. They might want to watch that. I did make the presentation. It's about 100 slides, so a lot of information. It's available for free on LinkedIn. And as a personal give back, if you want, have them contact me, and I'm happy to help them if I can. I have been doing this for 30 plus years in the IT space.
Yeah.
I calculated the other day, full disclosure, I've been laid off more than once as well, which you will in the IT space.
Yeah.
So I calculated the other day, I've had probably over 150 individual interviews, panel interviews, every which way. So as my wife often says, I haven't learned anything in 30 years in the IT space. That was a joke. Hopefully I have learned something after 150 interviews. So as part of my give back, if they see value and they're interested, have them reach out to me, and I'm happy to help them if I can.
Yeah, that's really generous of you, and doesn't surprise me. You've got a great reputation in the area and in the space, and we do appreciate that very much. So what if the person, so I would probably have them reach out to you, but what if the person can't make it to Miami next week or on the 16th, I think you said?
Right.
What would be another potential event coming up that would be available in the near future?
Well, again, thank you for the plug. We have a monthly event called Dev Dive for developers, for programmers. We just had one last week, and we have one coming up. So that's a good way for the development community to kind of network and meet. And that's free as well. So that's on our Eventbrite page. So I would look that up.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of other areas. Let me think some more, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
You caught me. I'm speechless again.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wanted to
Maybe
add,
Denis can add.
I wanted to add that
or-
the South Florida Tech Hub, they publish a newsletter.
Thank
and
you.
One of the sections is open jobs.
Yes,
So
thank
you can see like open career path opportunities. So make sure you subscribe to the newsletter, and it's
Yeah.
a very informational resource.
Yeah, thank you, Denis. I forgot. We do. So we have a job board. I was actually looking at it the other day. There are a lot of development type jobs posted. So you can go to South Florida Tech Hub. Definitely subscribe to the newsletter. It's free. Follow us on LinkedIn. It's free. Follow us on Eventbrite. It's free. So yeah. Thank you for that, Denis.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other thoughts on that?
So, John, do you have any questions for one of our guests?
Let's see here. Who do we have today?
We have Marcio and Brad.
Yeah, no, Marcio's my good buddy, and I just miss him. So
next week we go for a coffee, man. Definitely.
yeah, we've been
I'm
assuming
publicly.
each other.
Yeah, I'm assuming publicly. We're gonna have a coffee next week.
Who's buying?
Yeah.
So John,
Yeah, I'm
pay
buying.
for that.
It's my
I pay.
turn.
Okay.
No. You got last time. It's my turn.
Okay.
we have 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your business. What do you specialize in?
So I do fractional business development, primarily in the fintech financial services space. One exciting thing that we did just recently is we launched a new podcast, my first venturing into podcasting, and it's called Jammin' and Plannin'. And the idea was to bring, through COVID, we all were on Zoom, and in the backgrounds, how many times did you see a musical instrument, a guitar, a piano, something in the background of the camera? And we realized that the curtain is kind of being opened up to other passions that folks have outside of their 9 to 5. And so I got to thinking it'd be kind of cool if we created a podcast where we'd come in, share some of the things about what that person and their job role does positively for the financial services industry, but then also delve into their outside passion around music and how that impacts their lives and what they do with it, and interesting stories throughout their musical journey. And we just released episode number 2 with our first guest, and that guest is Adam Holt, who is one of the most popular fintech entrepreneur, founders, CEOs in the industry. He founded a company called Asset Map, and they have really taken off, and they're going international, and just a really, really interesting guy, very good guitarist. And part of the program that they have to commit to making a video of themselves playing their instruments, singing, whatever it is they do. And so, like I said, we just released episode 2. It's on LinkedIn now and on YouTube and all your favorite podcasting platforms. And so that's what we're up to.
What's the actual name?
It's called Jammin' and Plannin'.
You
And
want
that's
to
no G on the end of either of those
why
words.
don't you spell it real quick?
JAMMIN, and the and sign JAMMIN. Or sorry, PLANNIN. Jammin' and Plannin'
Got it.
podcast. And we have a group on LinkedIn as well. So we realized that not everybody's a musician, but everybody has outside passions.
Yes.
And so one of my others is cooking. And so we share, I've shared a ton of recipes already. We've only been up and running for a couple of months. But if you're a cook, a chef, somebody that loves trying new recipes, I've already shared some of my favorites within the group. And if you're interested, feel free to join us there, where you can share your passions outside of music and food. It could be anything, pottery, whatever, but art, poetry, whatever it might be. We'd love to have you there and express some of your outside passions with our like-minded community.
Wonderful. Great.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling
Thanks
in,
for
John.
calling in.
Yeah,
Have a
great
great
catching up, guys. Marcio, see you soon, buddy.
Definitely, I'll keep in touch.
Thanks, buddy. Take care. Have a good time, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks for
So,
coming.
so Brad, going back to the AI question, in technology space, you mentioned like screening, utilizing
Sure.
technology. How else are you utilizing latest AI models
Yeah.
in your business?
Those are great questions. So within our own platform, the areas where we've already applied AI today include something we call super resolution. So imagine in a frame of video, you're going to want to prioritize primarily around the person's face that's speaking. And especially if there could be like a particularly complicated background for whatever reason, you want to be able to mitigate that. And so it literally just prioritizes the encode around the face, but doing so in a way where the compression's pretty high. So I see we have our video up. That's great. So we use it for compression. We also use it for audio mitigation. So back in the day, the way that you would drop out like background noises, you would go with a band equalizer and like drop each one of the frequencies, which was great as long as it didn't happen to overlap with the person speaking, right? Mm-hmm. But we're in a world these days where there's a lot of user-generated content, or maybe I'm just on a video call out in public. And so how do I mitigate the ambulance, the police car, the fire truck? So by essentially having a language module that knows what those sirens sound like, it can fully erase those elements from the audio, but completely carry my voice through. So that's another way that we've used it. Some of the stuff that's out there, like moderation, Same thing, you're just training a language module. So if you have a particular brand with a particular brand quirk where, in normal conversation, it wouldn't be flagged as pejorative, but in the context of your brand, it would be. That would be another one of the areas where we have AI at work. There's really a lot of different examples. And then there's also the stuff that's emerging. Obviously with generative AI, we have looked into things like generating text to speech where it sounds like a natural human being, whether it be somebody that or, a completely generated person. Same thing with video stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty wide open space.
That's awesome. Like you're talking about AI avatars, right? Where
Exactly.
a human being,
Or maybe even a character that's animated, but able to respond in real time. And that's both completely generated by a script, and then also maybe I'm voicing the character and the avatar is reacting to
that's
my
great.
intonation.
And
right?
and I know it's all secured, and you also have HIPAA compliant, so healthcare
Sure.
companies can utilize your backend.
Yeah, that's right. So, we have all the certifications you would expect. We're HIPAA compliant. We're GDPR compliant. We have some ISO certs. We're SOC 2 compliant. Really, we want to make sure, we're encrypted end to end. Obviously, we want to make sure that our customer's IP is secure so that there's no concern with streaming on our platform.
That's great. So I think it's a great opportunity for you guys to join our Tech Palooza in December.
Yeah, definitely.
Love to have you exhibit there as well.
Yeah,
So,
let's definitely have a
thank you.
conversation,
Yeah,
guys. Thank
yeah.
you.
Can I extend a special promotion for Brad and all the audience?
Sure.
Since now it's official. Yeah, it's
Love it.
official. Tech Palooza.
Wait a minute. I hear breaking news
Breaking
coming.
news. Breaking news. Take notes.
Special promotion.
Write this
special
down.
promotion. As we're gonna have a Tech Palooza December 11th, the International Pavilion being promoted by international companies. So, since now, if you join Tech Hub website or if you Google Tech Palooza 2024 Florida, you're gonna see the site for registration. If you're gonna register yourself from now on, you're gonna have a special code. Massima, MASIMA is the name of my company. Massima, MASIMA. Put this code on there, you're gonna have around 30% discount off. Depend on the package.
No, we're going to charge you more if you use that discount code. No,
Depend
sorry.
on the package. Depend on the package. You're gonna see a lot of different packages. Also for sponsorship. If you're interested in to sponsor your company, your business over there, you're gonna have a special package. Don't forget to take decision on the first view of the package. Call us. Get in contact with me with the South Florida Tech Hub. We're gonna accommodate your budget to have a special package for sponsorship. But if you go through general admission, type your special code Massima, and you're gonna be surprised
There you
with
go.
the price.
Breaking news.
That's it. Let's come everybody to Florida in December.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I think we're kind of nearing the end of the show.
Yeah.
Why don't we?
No more calls. No more calls. Okay.
I think we've had some great calls.
Yeah.
Sure.
So why don't we go around the horn?
Mhm.
Brad, anything specifically you want to mention? We didn't mention anything. Any parting thoughts?
Yeah, no, I just want to thank my hosts today for inviting me to join you. This has been a great time, very interesting, very informative. Got a chance to know you guys and your business entities is great. Number two, I would say, look, folks, this is an example of the social community element of the technologies that Agora powers at work live in real time. So I'm really excited about that. And I hope to get a chance to come back again sometime, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Marcio,
Uh,
parting thoughts?
Yes, no, thank you so much. I want to thank you for the invitation from South Florida Tech Hub, for Owwll, Jason, staff. Amazing job. The structure here is fantastic into the studio. I invite all the companies to get in contact with them to promote your business here in Florida and US. And main point is, in a certain level of our lives, we decided to make a legacy. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to leave a legacy, a positive legacy for the new generations. And that's the reason I'm still doing what I'm doing and engaging business international, exactly to promote the chance for the new generation to be involved, engaged, and have a chance to go through different perspectives. Just that. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. I'm going to let Denis go, and then I'm going to wrap up.
Yeah, it's just been an honor to be one of the co-hosts. I think if you're a South Florida company and you want to join the Tech Hub and be a guest on this show, it's a great way to promote, to go to market and get your message and your brand promoted utilizing this platform. I think it's been an amazing experience so far.
So thank you, Brad. Thank you, Marcio. Shout out to Steph. Y'all can't see Steph, but she's waving. Shout out to Steph. Shout out to Jason. Appreciate all the great calls. Thank you, and have a good day.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.